doesn't feel real right now, but business is finished.
You guys in the CIF should know better than this bull crap.
History and heartbreak on either side of the state. From the top of the mountain to the bottom of a mud pit, Kern's championship chase ends in a thrilling high and a devastating low. This is the FFX Finale.
From Bakersfield to the corners of Kern County, the best moments from your Golden Empire gridirons. 17 Sports Director Taylor Schaub, football analyst, Renegade head coach R. Todd Littlejohn. This is FFX, the Sunday Expanded Edition. Driven by Sangera Subaru and Dignity Health, Mercy and Memorial Hospitals.
Merry Christmas and welcome to the FFX Finale. I'm Taylor Schaub, and over the next 30 minutes, we'll relive Kern's chase to become the County of Champions and spotlight some of our top gridiron gladiators. We begin our journey on December 10th, also known as State Championship Saturday, where for the second straight season, two Golden Empire football teams were within earshot of glory. Both the Liberty Patriots and the Shafter Generals were preparing to play on the sport's grandest stage, the CIF State Championships. The Patriots were taking on the Pittsburgh Pirates, a Bay Area powerhouse led by four-star quarterback and future Florida Gator Jalen Rashada. The date with destiny started bright and early Saturday morning as the community came out in droves. Fans lining the streets near Liberty High School giving their boys a final farewell. For the second straight season, the Patriots took nearly a 3-hour bus ride to Saddleback College in Mission Viejo. But how did these Patriots find themselves on the precipice of redemption? Well, that's a tale full of some hyperbole and a lot of adversity. Good thing 17's Chris Burton likes telling a good old-fashioned football odyssey.
64 young men walked into Saddleback College last year with a chance to make history. All they found was heartbreak.
It's gonna hurt. I mean, life's gonna hurt.
With Liberty on the verge of its first ever state title, the Patriots fell to the Sarah Cavaliers of Gardena, 21-16. A team that at times seemed destined for glory suddenly left to pick itself up and move on.
We got to understand that this is always a little bit bigger. When at the end of the day, what they've done this year has been amazing.
But that defeat was never forgotten. As a new season began, it hung around the team like words burned in the sky. State champion, runner-up.
We still feel like there's unfinished business.
To test that mettle, head coach Brian Nixon ordered up the usual preseason slate. That is to say, as tough as he could get. And the Patriots rose to the challenge, cruising through their first two matches, but storm clouds loomed, both in the schedule and in the sky. Liberty welcomed rival Buchanan for a game they wouldn't finish.
They had to do what they had to do, and I understand that, but, you know, I really thought we had the momentum at that moment.
Buchanan leading, Liberty engineering a potential go-ahead drive, and then thunder rolling in over the horizon. With nearly a full quarter to play, the game was called a Buchanan win.
No, we're gonna face adversity in the course of this season, so that's a little bit of adversity, and how we respond is going to define our character.
Nixon couldn't have asked for a better response. The Patriots rolled through the River League. They rattled off 5 straight double-digit wins en route to their 5th straight league title. In the playoffs, Buchanan was waiting, but this time the skies were clear. And over the next 48 minutes, the Patriots got their revenge.
I think they had motivation, but I also think they understood where this game means and the magnitude of this game to be able to go play on a Valley Championship and practice on Thanksgiving Day.
With one redemption arc complete, Liberty dismantled San Joaquin Memorial to claim back-to-back Valley titles. And that would have been the peak of most program seasons, but for the Patriots, there was more work to do.
We gotta keep going, and we got unfinished business, baby. We got unfinished business, that's all I gotta say.
In another step forward, Liberty knocked off Yorba Linda in last week's state sectional. Now, the scene that so many Patriots have played out in their head, stepping onto the field in a state title matchup, will play out in reality. The Pittsburgh Pirates, foes vanquished in last year's state sectional, are all that stands between Liberty and that other scene, the one with the trophy. Chris Burton, 17 News.
Powerful stuff, Chris. Thank you. Once upon a time, Patriots head coach Brian Nixon was the quarterback at Shafter. Some 30 years later, his alma mater also found themselves playing football in December. After playing 4 straight playoff games away from home, long bus rides have become commonplace over at Shafter. But the journey on Friday, December 9th, took the term Road Warriors to another level. A sea of blue and gold engulfed in Shafter High School that Friday morning before game day as the Generals started their long march to Orland, California. Kern's cardiac kids traveling some 370 miles, but their road to get there was much longer than that. Well, they say diamonds form under pressure, so it's only fitting that a program one win away from its first set of championship rings thrives when many would crumble. Shafter's 2022 season was always going to be an adventure.
Some days I have great expectations, and some days I wonder if we're going to be able to tie our shoes and chew bubble gum at the same time.
With only 5 seniors and a 15-year-old quarterback, some were thinking this would be a bit of a rebuilding year.
But it's a lot of no names that we're hoping that become names.
4 straight victories out of the gate, including a win to usher in their new home, quickly changed that narrative. Then came league play, and with it, losses to Chavez, Taft, Kennedy, and bitter rival Wasco.
Back to the drawing board, but definitely a game that we let slip away.
The late season slide forced Shafter to play as an 8 seed come playoff time. Surely it was only a matter of time before a senior-laden team showed these youngsters the door, right? Turns out sometimes ignorance is bliss.
They really do believe that they can fight themselves out of any situation. And that comes from, I just think, a little bit of stupidity, I think, and lack of experience.
After throwing 4 touchdown passes in his first postseason game, freshman quarterback Ezekiel Osborne, with his cool, calm, collected approach, took the central section by storm.
I've always been taught to just, no matter what, it's always 68 and breezy. You're always the same. It doesn't matter what situation you're in.
Yeah, he was made to do that right there.
First, it was back-to-back one-point road wins, setting the stage for the city's first Valley Championship since 1955.
I think it's a testament to them. You know, we're a young team, so is there ever going to be a time where they figure that what they're doing shouldn't be doing what they're doing with how they're doing it? But they just continue to figure out a way. I mean, I think it just comes out they're very much together.
It looked like midnight had finally struck for the Cinderella squad at Carruthers. Osborne and the Generals found themselves down 21 points in the second half. For most teams, that's a death sentence. For the newly minted cardiac kids, that was just the beginning. The comeback, 67 years in the making, as a football community of just over 20,000 erupted.
We've been a road team this whole year, so our kids are comfortable getting on a bus and playing in front of other people's crowds. And I mean, it's obvious tonight. I mean, it's obvious this whole run. I mean, we win 2 games by 1, and we come down, and I mean, we win this one by 6 points, and it was closer than 6 points, and we had every opportunity to give that away, and we figured out a way to win.
With all eyes shifting towards state, Perucci called any win after Valley pure gravy, and it seems these boys weren't quite finished eating.
I'd say this is the closest team I've ever been on. I've been playing football for 7-8 years, and these are my brothers. I love them so much.
When the pressure comes, they lean in on each other. All the outside noise goes away, and they just get tighter and tighter and tighter. The more pressure, the tighter they become.
And right on cue, Perucci's crew had to make it interesting again. Down by double digits to Walnut High, the Generals rallied yet again, this time coming home with their first ever state playoff win.
We go to work every day, we grind every day, and to come down here and just get a win in the way that we did it, I think is just awesome.
With a week to process and prepare, it's on to Orland in rain-soaked Northern California.
I don't know what to feel.
This community just deserves it, and for me, I was just very happy to be able to give not only the kids the payoff for all their hard work, but also the community a payoff for, you know, just all their believing and constant support of the program.
What a ride. Well, still ahead on FFX, we've relived the journey. Now it's time to revisit the result. Disgust and utter delight, the two key takeaways from 4 quarters, some 500 miles apart. Welcome back. 2 Kern County football programs put it all on the line as California's crown loomed large. Here's a look back at the sights, sounds, and soakings from a wild state championship Saturday.
2 teams, 2 ends of the state, 1 victory, and 1 heartbreak. The Liberty Patriots reveling in a sweet release that only comes from redemption.
It doesn't feel real right now, but business is finished.
The Shafter Generals shot at history, sinking like the soil under their feet.
You guys in the CIF should know better than this bull crap.
Conviction and controversy, the 2 headlines from Kern's chase for a California crown.
Here come the Patriots.
We'll start in the Southland. Liberty returning to Saddleback College, the same scene where they felt the sting of defeat.
It's going to hurt. I mean, life's going to hurt. But we got to understand that this is always a little bit bigger.
The only thing standing between Liberty and finally grasping that trophy, a vengeful Pittsburgh High School out of Northern California, foes vanquished in last year's state semifinal. The Patriots got right to work. Krayshawn Kizzy picks off 4-star quarterback Jalen Rashada and puts the Pirates defense in a tizzy.
Great quarterback.
The Cal Poly commit went for the hat trick as Kizzy breaks free for a 96-yard house call in the second quarter.
That's a house call.
And dusts the defense for an 85-yard receiving touchdown in the fourth, becoming the first player in state championship history to score on offense, defense, and special teams.
The bag. We won it.
Kizzy, quarterback Cole O'Brien, wideout Xander Chisholm, and running back Makai Duluth combined for 7 scores.
You know, we made it back, and we actually finished this time. You know, it's just a, it's an amazing run.
I will remember this film for the rest of my life.
The 48-20 rout, handing revered head coach Brian Nixon the prize that's always eluded him.
They talked about it, for 365 days, and, they wanted to get back and finish, and that was the one thing they talked about doing, and I couldn't be more happier for them. They talked it into existence, they worked it into existence, and they finished the deal.
Some 540 miles away, freshman quarterback Ezekiel Osborne and his Shafter Generals encountered a rain-soaked mud pit masking as a football field.
You get to the big show and then you have to play on a field like this. It degrades the type of game that you have.
It's just more adversity for these cardiac kids. After all, these boys engineered multiple comebacks en route to their first section title in nearly 7 decades.
For us to go and do what we did this year, defying a lot of odds, I think it just speaks to the type of guys we have.
Generals would get down and dirty in the first quarter. Christopher Espinoza drives his way past the Orland defense for a 4-yard touchdown. Then the Trojans showing why they're unbeaten. Star quarterback Grant Foster takes the life out of the Shafter sideline, sprinting in for a 65-yard touchdown. That's his first of 2 straight scores. Orland would take a 12-7 lead at halftime. In the third, a Foster fumble sets the stage for another Shafter comeback. The stars were aligning for this Cinderella squad, but wait, that's not part of the script. Osborne gets picked. The defensive score proves to be a death nail for the Generals.
Even though the conditions were against us, we still feel like we should have came out with it, but sometimes it doesn't go your way.
Mother Nature getting the better of Gerald Perucci's crew as hundreds from the football-crazed community of Shafter drive home empty-handed.
The truth of the matter is, and I hope I'll look at all the cameras, it is a shame on the CIF that they allow a state championship game to be played on a field like this when you got Division I and II teams playing on turf. It is crap that you allow this stuff to happen. And let the CIF know that. This game should never, because we didn't get to see the best of both teams. That's the thing that's wrong with what happened tonight. I'm proud as heck of my guys. They battled through this, they battled through a bunch of stuff, but when you can't even throw a football because it's so dang muddy on this field, it's just bullcrap on the CIF.
Perucci's post-game comments on 17 News causing a viral firestorm as more than 180,000 viewed or weighed in on Twitter.
So sorry, ranted.
The debate will rage on as the Generals grapple with what could have been.
It's always going to have a special place in my heart, especially with how far we went.
That's the beauty of high school football. Whether in victory, like Liberty, or defeat, like Shafter, the passion never dies.
Well, the tweet has now garnered hundreds of thousands of views. We reached out to the CIF directly for comment on Perucci's statement. Here's their response in part. It states the mechanism to address these types of concerns is through the CIF Football Advisory Committee, in which every CIF section has representation. It went on to address the process for any such grievance without directly acknowledging the conditions for the title game. Well, as you can imagine, that statement didn't sit well in Shafter.
To be honest with you, it's the flippant attitude that most of the small schools feel like they get when they go to the state stuff anyway. We're an afterthought.
We go one-on-one with head coach Gerald Perucci when the FFX Finale returns.
It's just bullcrap on the CIF. You guys in the CIF.
After his comments about poor playing conditions caused a viral firestorm on state championship Saturday, Shafter head coach Gerald Perucci isn't backing down. Following his loss at Orland High School, we went one-on-one with the Generals leader in an interview you'll only see right here on TV 17. Coach, you've had some time to reflect on Saturday. You've had some time to obviously reflect on the comments that you made afterwards. How do you feel about what you said?
I don't think I would take it back. I think the only thing that I would have added was I should have congratulated them on winning, because they did what they needed to do to win. And so I didn't want to take away from there. I know, being a small town guy, I know how big those type of wins are for a small town, and they were a small town. That's probably the one thing I do wish I would have done before. Other than that, no, I'm happy with the way that it came out, and I'm happy with what I said.
Were you surprised nearly 400,000 people viewed your comments, thousands tweeted about it? I mean, we had response on both sides. Football coaches, former players, fans, officials, they all responded to your comment.
You know, my comment wasn't about the game. It was about the experience that our kids were getting. And I think some people thought it was sour grapes. I was going to say what I said no matter what. I just, having the ability to watch, you know, I was watching Liberty play at the same time, and watching what they were getting, and then putting the phone down and watching what our athletes were getting, it wasn't the same.
You mentioned sour grapes. There are obviously people are going to say that because you said it after the loss. How do you respond to those people?
The message would have been the same. Maybe the passion isn't, because I mean, I just watched my kids, you know, win and do what they needed to do to get to a state game, and for a lot of them, they weren't even able to play. Orland and Shafter deserved better.
The response from the CIF didn't address your comments. It didn't address the field, the poor playing conditions. It really just talked about the process for potentially filing a grievance. How did you take that response?
To be honest with you, it's the flippant attitude that most of the small schools feel like they get when they go to the state stuff anyway. We're an afterthought. When you have equality in your mission statement, and then you compare the two products that you are having your schools that are all pay the same amount of money to the federation. We all pay the same amount of money, and yet we're not getting the same product. Your mission statement is called into, I mean, it's called on the carpet. You have to answer for something that is obviously not equitable. I mean, and that's my whole question, if I had a CIF person here, would be, would you have allowed Mater Dei to play on that field for the open state championship? And the answer would have been no. I mean, and I would hope that it would be no, you know, but why is it yes for us?
Well, it certainly started a conversation. Coach, thank you so much.
Thanks for covering it, Taylor. I really appreciate it.
Well, as the debate rages on, the Friday night lights go dormant for nearly 9 months. A final word on a season for the ages. That's next on FFX.
FFX is proud to partner with Valley Sports Media. Follow at V Sports Media for exclusive football content throughout the season.
Finally, tonight, a message for all the players, coaches, fans, and loyal FFX viewers. This show, this space, and this time isn't lost on me. When I arrived in Kern County, I'd only heard the stories about the collective passion this community shared for its Friday Night Warriors. 3 seasons, a pandemic, wildfires, heat delays, and pretty much every other obstacle you can think of later, I feel it in my bones. I had one goal when I took over this program: give our kids an outlet where their achievements can feel as big as the Sunday night football games that precede it. Because frankly, this county deserves it. From Chris, Coach, and I, thank you. And that will do it for this holiday edition of FFX. Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night.